Good evening, everybody. Thanks for attending tonight's board meeting. Basically, just wanted to highlight some things that I've heard over the course of the last year in regards to adding one particular athletic program, and that is boys volleyball. I've been asked numerous times by athletes now, community members, corporation members, and so it really got me thinking and wanted to explore it a little more. And so tonight I present you my findings and in summary, believe that we should add boys volleyball to our list of spring sports offerings. I believe it's something that could easily benefit our school and boost morale. However, I have created a spreadsheet to document here what I think in terms of adding the program. So if we start over here on the left-hand side, you see number of students interested. This was a survey that I sent out to the entire high school and actually sent it out to the middle school. We had 20 really hardcore students that were interested in spring volleyball. So I put in here 20. That could rise, that could fall, but that's really the number that was a hard number for us when looking at it. Cost of equipment. Now, this is an interesting one because when you look at volleyball, I mean, we already have girls volleyball. And so adding this is not going to be much burden to the athletic program budget. So really, you're only buying volleyballs. And so I put in here and allotted for 20 volleyball just because you usually have a fairly good list of volleyballs that you want to have for your team. So you see $800 there, $40 per volleyball typically is a good number, so we put 20 in there and you get the number of 800. Going over uniforms. Now, again, uniforms were something that I personally don't believe that we have to buy uniforms right off the bat for this sport. I think this is a sport where you almost kind of treat it like a club sport and let the students buy their own uniforms for the time being. And that's not, much cost. I mean, you're looking at a jersey and then some shorts, and so you could probably get away with $40 or $50 worth of jerseys, and that's not much of an expense for a player. So I think those are something that an athlete could fork over for the first couple of times for the season. Or for the first couple years of the season, rather. Officials, I put on here a 14-game schedule. I think that's more than doable, which means we'd have roughly 7 home games. If you look at officiating costs, you only have 2 officials, and I would pay them roughly $70 per game, varsity-wise. So you're looking at $140 a night, and then multiply that by 7, which gets you $980. So close to $1,000 in officials expense. Moving over, the head coach. Now these we would just add the head coaching salary and just base it off of really what the girls varsity head coach makes. I don't think it's too much to look at having that same person actually coach the boys, to be quite honest with you. You're looking at 2 assistant coaches at almost almost $5,000 apiece. In terms of Title IX and having those assistant coaches, you got to have the same across the board. So $7,800 for the head coach, $4,500 apiece for the assistant coaches. Now, that being said, if we got the same person and the same staff to coach the boys, then possibly those numbers would lessen or lower, and you could combine and maybe save some money on that front. Facilities and travel. Well, facilities, I mean, we're not going to build anything new. I mean, we already have the space for it, and so that is not a expense whatsoever for us. Travel-wise, that comes out of the corporation budget. There are going to be some extra travel costs because of who we would have to play in terms of driving to, 40, 45, 50 miles away for some games. That could be an expense that we incur substantially. But, we do a good job of providing providing transportation, rather, for all of our programs, so I don't think that would be much of a hassle there. So I put 0 down for that. I don't think it's applicable here because it doesn't come out of our athletic budget. So you're looking at a roughly $19,260 worth of equipment, officials, and a coaching salaries. I think that's very doable. We already have the space. You're not looking at anything new. And I think really it would be a good addition to our program offerings. I think it could also boost some morale. You look at baseball, and that's an outdoor sport, track and field outdoor sport. It is cold in the spring, so this would give a chance for kids to get inside. Those that wanted to watch and really support the team. So overall, I think it's worth looking into. Certainly, obviously, I've done it here and think that it would be a good addition. So I highly recommend it to the board to look into and add for approval for our spring sports, maybe in 2 years. Thank you for your time.